Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. How's everybody doing today? So let's see who is in. I was just kind of looking over your comments there to see what's up. Okay, JoJo's in. Roger Prescott, Heart's Truth. Shari D, of course. Linda Lavalamp. Vivian Messier. Okay, I think that's everybody. Not a lot of people today. Joe Blor's in. I'm actually sort of on time a little bit. Eric Cruz is in. Maybe that is like what's confusing everybody. Life Matrix, how are you doing? Finally enjoying some warm weather over here, sort of, today. Mandanimal's in. All right, I think that's everybody. Yeah, I actually didn't hear what the latest baloney story is on the pipeline explosion. I mean, it's pretty much agreed upon across the rest of the world, besides the United States, that Russia probably did not blow up their own pipeline when they could have just turned it off on their end. And right before they were about to make a deal with Germany to turn the pipeline back on is probably not when when Russia would choose to blow up their own pipeline. So I wonder who else might have some reason to blow up the pipeline. So yeah, anyway, I don't know I guess Shari, I had seen some kind of thing and I'm like, I don't want to hear their baloney stories anyway, but maybe I'll have to check into it if they're doing a whole ridiculous dog and pony show with passports and stuff. Or did they have a waterproof passport now instead of a fireproof, explosion-proof passport? That would be kind of interesting. All right, so what's going on in Mandela Land? Kind of a medium amount of Mandelas. This is actually from last week though, and I think it was from last week, and I forgot to do it. But I don't know. There's this weird thing where these apparently seals and sea lions have toenails now, which is pretty weird considering they don't have toes. I don't remember them having claws either, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have toes. So this is the toenails. This is the back flipper thing. I don't really remember them even having like 5 clear toey type things. I just remember them having like flippers. But now they have toenails and almost toes, like it's kind of toe-like. Sea flipper, seals, that's a seal. So it's kind of interesting. It's like they're growing kind of hands almost. Open image. This is elephant seal. I believe that's the front flipper. But yeah, I just remember them having flippers, not nails. The back ones are especially ridiculous. There's not a lot of images of them, which is interesting. Why do seals have nails? I guess the front nails would make, some kind of sense. I just don't remember them having it, though. But the back nails, yeah. I mean, look at these things. They're ridiculous. No, that's the one we already did. This one. So they're just kind of there in the middle. They're not even on the end. So the story now is they kind of use these for like grooming and stuff. But yeah, no, there was no toenails on the non-existent toes on my sea lions before. The mainstream started to cover the new layer around the brain. Oh, cool. What is going on in Egypt? They are finding new places every week. Yeah. They're finding new ones, but other new ones are like showing up. So, like so many new ones have showed up. And, Egypt is right next to the Great Pyramid now. It's like, no, they were really far apart before. It's like they're all like, oh, let's just squish them all into the same place and add new ones. I feel like we're like a game board and the kid is like adding more stuff. Seal's getting a little bit crazy. If you want to know the real story about the pipeline, read the Seymour Hersh report. Well, I kind of assumed that it was, last I heard it was the Brits were over there doing maneuvers and they were the most likely candidate for that, probably operating in conjunction with the United States. But I mean, who knows? Who knows? I just don't think the Russians did it. And I do think it's highly likely. I mean, I certainly can't prove anything. Highly likely that it is one of the NATO partners that did that. Nails need a good manicure. So the story now is that seals and sea lions that are in captivity, you actually have to take like a dog nail clippers and trim them puppies. Egypt is crazy land. Yeah, I know. So yeah, what was it? They found some kind of weird tunnel thing. The weird thing though is they made a big deal about this little tunnel, and we don't even know what's the end of it. And it's like the boringest thing ever. And didn't they do that like 30 years ago? Oh, it found an ancient Sphinx statue. Okay, it's tiny though. It's a tiny little guy. Compared to all the stuff that's just shown up, that's like a nothing burger. And like 30 years ago, they found some weird tunnel and they didn't know where it led, and they had sent little robot in there to inspect it. Next to a Roman stele written in Demotic and hieroglyphic scripts. See, for me, there wasn't originally two scripts. There was only hieroglyphic. That was it. But now there's two. I'm pretty sure Demotic refers to the other script in the Egyptian now. They used to just have the hieroglyphic. I know there's a second script that is more like the common man writing. It's just weird. I don't know why all this Roman crap is showing up in Egypt too. It used to just be Egyptian stuff, but now it's like... Researchers believe the stele could shed light on the identity of the sculpted ruler. And this is who they say might be Emperor Claudius. Emperor Claudius? Are they saying that was a okay, Egyptian unearthed incredible smiling sphinx of Roman emperor. Okay, well then that would be way later then, right? Like after Rome came to Egypt. If this sphinx is truly a tribute to a Roman emperor, then maybe this is the sphinx that should have served as inspiration for blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know what the heck. So what now, Egypt? I don't know. I guess it's just weird. That would have to be way later, though. So if there's a sphinx sitting in Egypt, it would make sense that they would make little mini sphinxes of that sphinx. Like, for instance, they put up the Eiffel Tower, and now all over the place they sell little mini Eiffel Towers, even though the guy who did the mini Eiffel Towers did not have anything to do with the original one. So if it's like post Sphinx, I don't think it really means much. And that one's kind of dinky. I mean, it doesn't look like it's that much bigger than like something you'd have in front of your door nowadays. Roman and Egyptian stuff is intertwined. Well, it really wasn't before. I don't remember them ever talking about Roman stuff at all, ever in Egypt before the last couple years, maybe. Japan found 7,000 islands they didn't know they had. I did see that. Yeah, that was very interesting. I probably should have put that up. So they're basically saying that, of course, the islands had already been there, but because of improved imaging, they just realized that they had more than they thought. Like, I don't think Japan had that crappy in imaging and up until just now. So to me, it is pretty suspicious. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, hey, we have more than we thought, but not this late in the game. Anyone heard of the sinkhole that uncovered ancient slabs in Italy in 2020? No. Well, I see there's a couple Mandelas that you guys have been digging up. No, I have not heard of this one. Let's see. Sinkhole unveils ancient slabs in Rome, Italy. A sinkhole opened in the Piazza del Rotonda in front of the Pantheon in Rome, Italy, uncovering ancient slabs buried beneath. Ancient slabs buried beneath. Okay. Let's see if I can kill the sound on this thing. Wait. No sound. Kill the sound. Incredible ancient history buried underneath Rome, Italy. Where's the even sinkhole at? All I just see is, it looks like road construction or something. How is this a sinkhole? Huh. What the heck? How can there be a sinkhole without a sinkhole that sank 2 feet? Seems a little suspicious. That looks dug out. Even that's not sunk. All right. I'm not sure I'm buying the sinkhole story. I mean, if that sunk, wouldn't this also sink? It unveiled 7 paving slabs about 8 feet underground. Them some big slabs. Let's see. The ancient pavement had been previously discovered during excavations in the 1990s. All right, they already knew about it in the 1990s. So how did the sinkhole just find it now? Archaeologists say the newly uncovered slabs date back to the 2nd century. I thought they said they already knew about it in the 1990s. Now it's newly uncovered. Or is this the sinkhole? I don't know. It sounds a little suspicious. Sinkholes typically form when rock or soil below the surface dissolve. Yeah. I don't know. Sounds a little weird. I don't know. There's just been a lot of like corny stuff I've been finding on YouTube. I mean, maybe I'm just missing something here on this one, but like ridiculous stories and like they're not even making any effort to be truthful anymore. They're just like clickbaiting it to death. Instead of saying, okay, some road construction found a slab, they're like a sinkhole. Are though islands below the water surface? They said, not that what I was reading, that they were all above. See, yeah, that would be a little more realistic. It's not really an island if it's under there. Then I think they call it sea mounts if they're below the surface. Every city has another city beneath it. These days, yeah, I think so. Definitely finding so much underground stuff. You know, even stuff that is supposedly only dates back 50 years is like, oh, there's a subway, there's an ancient subway system under such and such, like San Diego. I'm like, I love underground stuff. I've been looking into this stuff for years and years, and none of these were here. And then suddenly they're like everywhere. I'm telling you, Clown World, they found it in the 90s and covered it to find it again. Yeah, and then it's a sinkhole, and then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be just whoever wrote that video was just corning it up, but still. Okay, so all right, that one I've dug up somewhere. Where did I think I saw that on Yahoo about that thing. Toenails. It's like you have a toe nail like here. I don't know. It's just it's making me. That one just bugs me. At least these are on the end for damn sakes. All right. Look at that. It's so corny. Quit that. Quit that. Look, the toes are here, here, and here. What is that one like? An almost non-existent one? It's Crazy Town. Pretty soon they're going to have like just fingers or something. I mean, look at these. These guys are like fingers now. Look at that. They had flippers. Now they got like flip fingers. Pretty soon they're going to be able to go like this and pick up stuff. This looks like it's working on it. New mow I found in lake bed or on Easter. I saw that. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't write any of these down. All right. It was tiny though. Well, it's like, I don't know, it's like 8 feet or something. I think that the timeline is trying to get out that there's different size moai, and that's why that one showed up. You know, my old timeline, it just had a couple really big moai, like maybe 15 really big moai on the edges of the island. Now they're just like everywhere. New moai discovered in dried up volcanic crater lake. Let's see if they have it. Yeah, see, it wasn't that big. I wonder if that one's going to be one of the squatting ones. Like they have one that has kind of like legs and stuff, and it's a tinier one. I've had them on before. My original timeline didn't have those, but flingers, yeah. So yeah, it's like evolution right here, you know. It's, you know, I always used to laugh at those creationists as being ridiculous, but the more I thought about it, I go, well, there are some holes in evolutionary theory. But now that I've seen all this stuff, I'm like, even the creationists think that they were plopped on Earth pre-dawn, but it looks like they just kind of grow up really fast. They just show up. All right. But yeah, I guess the creationists had it the most right because they basically said, well, maybe God just put them there. Well, something put them there. All right, Atticus. This one is from Apple on Gallery. Commenter on the channel found. Apparently, we have more weird butterflies. I guess this isn't the weirdest one, but I'm pretty sure I have not seen this one. So this butterfly has the image of 2 snakes, one on each side, and it kind of just looks cartoony. It's hilarious. It's like some kid painted a snake on each end. But image. Oops. So there, it has this image on each side, which looks like a snake head, and there's the eye, and there's the mouth and stuff. I didn't mean for that image to get so big. I'm kind of going to guess that we're going to see more of this, though. But image tab. There, that gives a little bit better. To go over here to there's the snake head. Although it kind of does look like a lizard head. So I guess the story is that these butterflies have this to like scare predators into thinking it's an icky snake. Everything's got other images on it now, but I have not seen that one. So yeah, I agree that that's a new one. There you can see it in there. So it's called Atticus Atlas. SMQAI got started as sort of a joke, saying we died in 2012. Then he partnered with Chick to investigate it, decided it was actually still on the table. Well, there is that, quantum immortality theory, which basically is like, it takes the many worlds theory, where like each time you make a decision and you're not sure which way to go, like one version of you does one way on that decision and the other version does another. So there'd be like a bajillion timeline or forks in your timeline, and because you basically, like, the way quantum theory works, instead of just doing one route and choosing only one route, like all routes are explored simultaneously. And so the basic idea, I'm probably not explaining this well, is that our lives also follow the quantum rules. Like every possible path that we could take is explored simultaneously. And so the quantum reality is like, well, in some of those paths we die, and if that's the case, then we don't experience that death because our personality just moves into the adjacent timeline where we didn't die. So everybody else in that timeline that we died in thinks we're dead, but we don't have conscious knowledge of this because we just, to our perspective, we just keep moving on. So we never die. Of course, you can't, it's like non-provable, or it's non-verifiable, and it's non-debunkable, because we don't know. Maybe I did die and in some timeline, and I'm in like some version of me's up in heaven. But then it gets confusing, because if each one of you dies in all these timelines, what are there, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of versions of you up in heaven or the afterlife or wherever? What if some of me are bad and some of me are good? Do I got some versions in heaven and some in hell? So the quantum immortality is like, well, maybe that consciousness and life force just kind of merges back into the other ones. And we don't die until the last version dies. Will the last version ever die? There's a lot of questions that I still have about this concept, quantum immortality. But, maybe we did die in 2012 and then we shifted over to here, or I don't know. The more I find out, the less I have any idea what's going on. Evolution makes far less sense to me than it used to. Yep. Well, because I'm seeing it in action, It's like I see these creatures, and then they're simple and they get more and more complex over the course of just 5 years. They didn't exist. They've gone from non-existent to all over the place. So it's shocking. The more they say something's going extinct, the more of them there are. People who have PC with NVIDIA GPU from something can use something to upscale videos so you watch them. This stream looks like 720 at 360p. Yeah, I don't know. Like, my video when it's sent out is better than when YouTube rebroadcasts it. The problem is YouTube, like, on their end shrinks it. So even if I send it pretty good, it doesn't go through as good. And I don't know if that makes any sense. So like when I do screen captures and stuff and then just save it on my own laptop instead of sending it to YouTube, it's got a lot better resolution. All right, switching to live chat. All right, this one was found by Remy Rodriguez, another person on my comments. Thank you very much. So she came up with one thing, and then, as often happens, it just kind of scrolled on out to multiple things. So what she noticed that is there's this thing called salt pearls. So it used to be that, as I recall, to get salt, they would take salty water and dry it, and then the salt would be left behind because the water was evaporated, right? And then there were also like stores of salt then that could be found underground. I really don't remember them saying anything about that like decades ago, but then somewhere around 10, 15 years ago, you started hearing about these great underground salt deposits. And, I really should check to see if the Roman soldiers were still paid in salt. Let me just check that really, because there's so much salt now, it doesn't seem like it would be as valuable. So the old story was that the old saying, he's worth his salt, is because Roman soldiers were paid in salt. So if you sucked, then you weren't worth your salt that you were paid in. It was easy worth the money. It's not true anymore. No, this was a fact. I looked into this multiple times. The persistent modern claim that Roman legions were sometimes paid in salt is baseless. A salarium may have been an allowance paid to Roman soldiers. Okay, yeah, they were paid in salt. That's creepy because I was just asking about it and it's like it hurt me. All right, here we go. Because the exact sentence I wanted was first. Let's see. Sources, ancient world. Let me pull up Roman. Find Roman. Here, the persistent modern claim that Roman soldiers' legions were sometimes paid in salt is baseless. A salarium may have been an allowance paid to Roman soldiers for the purchase of salt, but even that is not well established. Salt was a precious commodity, blah, blah. Okay, so they were no longer... I'm not surprised because there's freaking salt everywhere now. And there's this thing called salt pearls. So I only remember you either dried the salty water to get salt, or you could, like, in more recent decade or two, there was, like, deposits where they would, like, mine it. It still seems a little weird to me because I'm like, how did they get, like, feet, miles, 20, 30, 50 feet of salt all in a pile, all underground, without a bunch of other crap in it? I mean, like, if, say, there was a dried up seabed that dried up like 100 feet of dry water dried up and made the salt. I mean, wouldn't there be like dead animals and seaweed and dirt and mud and all this other crap? So it does kind of make me suspicious that there's giant, thick layers of almost pure salt. And then when you get into the fact that now it's getting all these pretty colors in there, but the pretty colors are just minerals. They're not dirt and crap and dead animals and seaweed. But now we have salt pearls. So she found one that was the Dead Sea salt pearls. And then when I was looking into the Dead Sea salt pearls, I found that they're all over the place. Namibian salt pearls. And one of the nicer ones was Afar salt pearls. So apparently now these places, they'll just barf up like pearls of salt, like balls of salt, and they're on the water. And so it's kind of weird to me because it's like, well, how did they float all around and not get like redissolved? Okay, maybe in the Dead Sea there's like too much salt in there, but then why is it like all over the place? There's like tons of places that have these salt pearls, and they're natural. We didn't make these pearls. You actually just go out there and you just pick them up. I don't think that's a really good one. Images. So it kind of shows there's all these salt pearls, but that's definitely not the best image in town. You know what? I need Google. Lately, I've just noticed that the Swiss cows have not been coughing up the latest Mandela images very good, and Google has. So I don't know if Google has gotten better or Swiss cows has gotten worse. Because for quite some time, I would do the searches and find almost the same stuff on Swiss cows and Google, but lately Google has been better. All right, here we go. Okay, pearl salts, salt pearls. So they get up to about an inch or so. They're different sizes. These are one of them. 80 pounds for 290. So these are natural. Circular, like rocks. But they're Did white gold miners still brave the journey through hell to get these salt? So these are kind of awesome. This is why I was really suspicious that they didn't pay the Romans in salt anymore, because it's just getting too plentiful around here to have been a currency. If they're just, you can just pick it up everywhere. Djiboutis, Lake Assal. Recognized both in the lowest point of Africa, the world's largest salt reserve holds more than 6 million tons of precious salt. After thousands of years, local miners still endure the arduous journey through the highlands and into the Danakil Depression with their camel train transporting the white gold to Ethiopia. All right, so supposedly they have to like hand scrape them and I don't know. The whole story, it's just kind of crazy. But they are awesome. I don't know why I just like circle stuff, so. That's not even the Afar ones. I think I've failed finding the Afar ones. All right, here's some Afar. So supposedly the best ones are these Afar ones. Afar salt. I don't know, I've just heard of it today, so I'm not exactly an expert on salt pearls, but so this is a new level of the sea salt now, is that they make these natural smooth pearls instead of just like ground up chunks. The world's premium sea salt. Do you prefer to sprinkle the finest pearls on top of your food and let the salty taste pop in your mouth, or do you season recipes with ground up pearls for a more subtle effect? Total crazy time. So this is from 2010. Not supposedly. I actually was looking for buying some of these, and I didn't look super hard, but everywhere I looked it was sold out. So I just think it's kind of interesting. It really just showed up for me, and it's like sold out. I'm pretty sure if I dug a bit more, I could find it, though. It didn't look like it was outrageously expensive. But then I'm like, well, what am I going to do with it? Because in order to eat this, you're going to have to grind it up, and that would kind of, why should I pay extra if I'm just going to grind it up? All right, so when I was looking at that stuff, see, I found Namibian, Afar. Okay, this one I kind of wanted to see. Let me see. Travel show walking on a beach of salt pearls. They had an interesting image on this one, if I can find it. One of the stories is the Dead Sea is disappearing and dying, and that's why you can find all this salt. I'm highly suspicious at this point that this stuff is showing up as a Mandela, and the old "it's a dying" is not accurate. I mean, they said that for about, like, pretty much my whole life about the Salton Sea, that it would be dead in 10 years, and now 30 years later, it ain't dead. In fact, it's huge, and it's growing and growing and growing. So I'm pretty sure the same is happening with the Dead Sea. Oh, man, I can't find that. Anyway, there was just like a cute, a really interesting image of like just a bajillion of the salt pearls just like laying on the ground. Was that it? Maybe. This one might be it. Yes, this is it. I wish I could zoom in a little bit more. There. So, yeah, there's the salt pearls. So then they're like, well, how did these form? Blah, blah, blah. This, I think, was the Dead Sea. Yeah. But, like I said, it's not just the one spot, so. I actually should see if the Salton Sea has salt pearls. Come to think of it. The Salton Sea is kind of near me. That's why I talk about it a lot. I'm familiar with the history of it because it's not that far. There's Spanish pearls. Not seeing it. Oh, not yet. I think these are pretty new though, these salt pearl things. Okay. All right, so I was looking at that and then I found the thumbnail. Let me just see what you guys are up to here. Yeah, see, everybody, I know I checked into it too. Like when they said that, I actually researched it. There was a whole bunch of stuff on it. They were paid in salt. It was kind of a famous thing, but it was also something I specifically looked into because I just thought it was so interesting to even imagine that. I hate that YouTube doesn't have a setting to automatically play videos on the highest quality. You have to click, yeah. Salt is salt with minor impurities. Yep. Sea salt is... One thing that sea salt does not usually have, though, is added iodine. And considering that most of us don't eat much seaweed or anything, you might want to supplement a little with iodine if you're eating sea salt. I have seen some sea salt with added iodine. I don't exactly see how that works. Because how do they're going to have to I mean, I guess they're going to have to like mix it with some water, add the iodine, and then dry it again, or I'm not sure, but I've had a number of people I've talked to that said they were tired all the time and then they supplemented with iodine and got suddenly better. So I do think that it's becoming more of a thing. When I was a kid, all the salt you ever found at the grocery store was supplemented with iodine, and it was a law that you had to, unless you're selling it for like cheese making or something where you wouldn't need the iodine. Like you can't have the iodine in certain uses, just like road salt. They didn't put it in the road salt. But now I think it never has been a law or what. Last I looked into it, I couldn't really figure out why they don't have like 90% of the salt at the store now does not have iodine, and this is table salt. So Mandela Effect, Revelation 1.7, behold, he cometh with clouds. With clouds. Yeah, I thought it was on clouds. I got black Hawaiian salt and Persian blue salt. Yeah, I had that on the other, like some months ago. I don't remember all these weird colored salts. Yeah, Vivian Mercier was taught it as fact in school. But, I looked into it even after school, and there was nobody disputing that they were paid in salt at all. It was just a fact. Yeah, see, I remember that all table salt had to be iodized. Just certain things that you'd use for like preservation and stuff didn't have to be. Shari just says, I put Lugol solution on my skin and rub. It stains, but skin absorbs it. You can just put a couple drops of Lugol's like in water or a smoothie or an orange juice or anything and just slurp it down. It only has a really minimal flavor. It's really, even just plain water, it's not bad. I mean, it's not like yummy, but you're not gonna be like, "Eh." If you had like orange juice and you put Lugol's in there, you wouldn't even taste it. I just don't really trust skin absorption as much. It's in you if you swallowed it. People use different amounts of salt, so how would putting iodine in salt be a benefit to those who don't eat much salt? I pretty much accepted that all Americans put salt on. I mean, if you don't, then, the thing is weird now is like salt has become such the enemy that there are people now who won't add salt at all. And I never was clear about whether they had to put iodine in the salt that they use to prepare commercial foods. Like if you buy Cheetos and it has salt, did that salt have iodine? I had never looked into that before. I would have thought that they also used iodized salt for all of that other crap, and so it would be almost unheard of that you didn't either use the salt shaker or eat some commercial food. But I never really checked on the commercial food in the past, so I can't really say for sure. I mean, when I was a kid, everybody salt shakered stuff. I mean, there were no people in America like that wouldn't just get the salt shaker out, so what about Eva changed? I don't know. What about me changed? Now I'm curious. When iodine disappears, it means you are iodine deficient. I've heard that story. I've heard that saying. I just have never seen any research that really backed it up. So I don't know if it was just true in some timelines, but I wasn't able to find any particular evidence. So the story was that if you took some drops of iodine and put it on your skin and that soaked in really fast, it meant that you were low on iodine. But if it did not soak in really fast, you were not low on iodine. But like I said, I've never seen any research to back up. Maybe some people just have better skin permeability in general than others. Maybe it's true in some timelines. But I wouldn't really trust that it's not soaking in, therefore you don't need iodine. It might be true, but like I said, I didn't really see any research. The Salton Sea was a disaster. So in the current timeline, the Salton Sea has been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And then that agricultural accident just allowed more water in, but did not create the Salton Sea, which is not the timeline that I remember. For me, there was no Salton Sea, and then the agricultural accident created it. So anyway, I just suggest you slap some iodine, just a couple of the Lugol's iodine into your drink occasionally, just to make sure you have it. Unless you use tons of iodized salt, I would just check your salt that you're buying, because like I said, almost none of the salt at the store right now has iodine. Last I've been checking, I've actually had to make an effort to find one that had it. And I also like big granules of salt, so I've had to like start ordering it online because I want the big granules and I want iodine. Almost everyone is iodine insufficient. It's likely. I find that likely. you know, you got the depleted soils thing. We hardly eat any seafood. We don't eat, you know, maybe in Japan they're probably pretty good because they do eat a lot of seafood, but not here. Anyway, it won't hurt to, I mean, don't go crazy, but just make sure you get your iodine somehow, because if you're not getting enough, that will mess you up. It is bad news. Isn't sea salt naturally iodized? Last I heard, no. Iodized. I mean, it has minerals, but it's just going to be such trace amounts. Unfortified sea salt contains only a small amount of iodine. Then this one says sea salt doesn't contain iodine. I think it's just such a tiny amount that it's not going to really help you if it's not added. It does kind of bring up the question, though, like, where did we get iodine if we were very inland? And there was no real seaweed or anything around. And I'm going to have to look into that. Salt used in commercial food production and fast food is not iodized. All right, this is a story about how iron intake is down. Okay, well, anyway, something to consider, especially if you don't eat, like, you know, like in Japan, they do eat a lot of seaweed stuff. They have miso soup. They have sushi, which has the seaweed wraps. When I was a kid, we constantly got iodine put on our ouchies. I think we absorbed a lot back in the day. Yeah, I'm just not sure how well it absorbs through skin. So if you have a cut and it's bleeding and you slap iodine on it, a lot of it will probably be pushed back out by the blood. I guess I'd have to try to research how much even goes in. So, like, for instance, I tried taking vitamin B1 by putting it on the outside skin, and I just didn't feel like I really noticed much absorption benefit. It just seems like it's really not like much. I don't know, maybe my skin is just not as absorbent as some people, but I seem to have a problem getting stuff through the skin. So I just have to take it like orally. So is YouTube changing formats, or are we shifting? I don't know what's different. Oh yeah, you're right. It's like black, isn't it? Didn't it used to be white? It does look kind of weird. I don't remember changing that. Yeah, something is different. I don't know. You'd think I'd remember better. Are there foods that have iodine? Yes, all the seaweed, like all the seaweeds, basically. I don't know, is there anything else? I just know about the seaweeds. So like miso soup and sushi, the wrappings around sushi. That's why the Japanese get a lot, because they do a lot of seaweed consumption. Okay, so. Oh, here we go. The next one. So I was looking into the salt pearls. Apparently we have little salt islands now. Salt islands. And they're awesome possum. They're really cool looking. So they're, as far as I can tell, they're just in the Dead Sea right now. But I think we can pretty much expect that these things are going to show up all over the place. And these are so cool. Oof. Okay. Okay, so there's a dude running along on these. These are in the Dead Sea. Very conveniently all strung together so you can apparently jump along on them. You can see they're rather large. Now, it sounds to me like it's pretty common for people to stomp around on these. I don't know why they're, like, in such good-looking condition. It just seems like they'd be all trampled or something. I mean, does the water maybe come back up and then down and then I don't know, but it seems like they're always there. They don't say, like, there's times you can't get at them, but if the surface is never refurbished by higher waters, then how come it looks so nice? And then this one's an interesting story here, too. So they're saying that this one has a tree growing on it. See, there's a person floating in the middle. I'm highly suspicious of this, at least in the current timeline. The story that I read in a couple places was that the reason this tree could live is because someone paddles out there every day and feeds it minerals so it could survive. Now, I don't get what minerals is going to make up for it not having any dirt or any fresh water and being surrounded by salt. And what minerals are going to make up for that? It didn't say. In fact, I'm really suspicious that what this is like some old dead shrub that someone hauled out there and stuffed in here and kind of spackled with, you know, who knows what, plus some salt. It really looks like it's kind of been spackled on there with salt. And I can't find any images of this being alive anywhere. Every image shows it as without leaves. Okay, so there's got to be a season. I mean, the Dead Sea. Did they have maybe? I would assume they still have trees that are dormant in the winter, but in the spring and summer, there's got to be leaves on this thing, and I can't find any images of it. So I suspect that it is not alive. However, I do wonder if we're heading in the direction of that being alive. Let me go to Google again. So they're saying, you know, there's nothing that can live in the whole Dead Sea except for this one bush because somebody paddles out there. Yeah, I don't think so. You'll see, like, every image of this, it is got no leaves. Salt Island tree. I think it's supposed to be some kind of famous thing, this Salt Island tree. I don't even remember it being Salt Islands, not to mention Salt Island tree. And they're calling this like iconic and famous. Has anybody ever heard of Salt Island tree and these salt islands? See pictures of this mysterious salt tree in the middle of the Dead Sea, Israel. I stumbled upon this unique beauty by total chance and only later discovered that many people go to the Dead Sea in search of this Salt Island tree. It is slowly gaining popularity in social media. It has become one of the best places to visit in the Middle East. Okay, see, again, no live nuttons on it. And frankly, the ends of the branches look kind of broken off and stuff. You don't see the fine little branches in there. Oh, Salt Island, British Virgin Islands. I'm gonna have to check that one out. Salt Island. Islands of Archipelago. Named after its salt ponds, which were once an important source. Okay, so it's not made out of salt, but it has salt ponds. Of course, no picture of the ponds. So it looks like there's just a few of them. I only really am seeing image of this Salt Island tree. And then those really cool ones I already showed you. But I mean, check this out. This is so awesome. Ah, too tiny. It's like a swimming pool in there. You got the salty swimming pool. I really think somebody just planted that tree, though. I mean, like, stuck it in there. It always looks the same. I never see any... There's no images of it small. There's no images of it having grown. And there's no images of it with leaves on it. There's those again. So the beaches also seem to be growing some stuff. Like there's like shoals of the, like, what is it, like coral reefs, but they're salt reefs. See if I can find one of those now. Here. Dead Sea Tree of Life. So apparently these crystals are very sharp. So you need to wear, like, anybody who goes out to coral reefs knows you got to wear, like, these special water shoes so your feet don't get cut up. And if you want to lay, I guess it's above water, you can lay a towel down and relax that way. Okay, so there's this big one, bunch of little ones. This website I was looking at earlier, this is about the best website I could find for these. Okay, so there's a person down there. So there's like these shoals. The round islands are definitely our favorite. There's that suspicious tree. All right. So apparently these aren't even far. Like, you want to say, oh, maybe they're way out in the lake and nobody knew about them. Nope. It's a 2-minute wading out to these. So they don't even have to swim. You wade out to them. Close to the shore, 2 minutes waiting, wear shoes. So anybody ever heard of these things? Because these are so awesome. I bet we're going to get a lot more. Both iodine and yeah, we used to have mercurochrome or merthiolate for wounds back in the day. And it had just a little bit of mercury in it. And I'll tell you, germs do not do well in mercury. If you had a spreading infection that you probably could have lost your effing arm from, that stuff would stop it in its tracks. They actually still do sell that stuff in, where was it? Where's that island where the Rastafarians are? Jamaica. They still sell mercurochrome in Jamaica. And I got some shipped over here. And it was just, it's just like $8 or something. I'm not going to use it on every little cut because there's mercury in it, but I do use it for emergency. I will keep it because if there's an infection that's starting to spread, that will stop it. I had one of those when I was in high school. I got a 3rd-degree burn over like this whole side of this arm, and it was starting to get infected. And the lady just, the kitchen lady had it, and she put it on there. Boom, no more infection, just gone. So I'm not going to risk my arm over fear of mercury. Yeah, we all use mercurochrome. That was the 90s I was using mercurochrome. Were pearls any shape other than round? When I Googled salt pearls, it showed saltwater pearls of all sorts of shapes. Yeah, they were just small. When they first showed up, they were like kind of, I don't know if I say round, but like teardrop ovals kind of thing. kind of bumpy round, you know. Yeah, it's true that pearls have gotten next level crazy since then. I mean, they're huge. They're just, you know, um, that's been happening for decades, very slowly though. So, looking back on it, I do suspect that was part of the whole Mandela process. Iodine used to be in bread. They took it out in the 70s and people started becoming overweight. Interesting. Iodine fuels the thyroid. Yep. Has to be in balance with selenium. I wonder if seaweed has selenium too. It does seem like stuff that needs to be in balance. Often it will be in balance in the plant. Seaweed. What has a lot of selenium? Small amounts of selenium, so no. Yeah, you'd have to check and see what has lots of selenium then. No, I'll have to check that Ghosty 333. Unfortunately, I don't check my emails but once a millennia, so. The labels on top of the YouTube homepage. Has anyone seen a tab that was labeled human? It's added that label multiple times for human. Huh? No, I don't think I've seen that. Tomorrow is Shari's wedding anniversary. Well, congratulations. I hope you're going to do something really fun for it. How did all the islands form flat on top? Yeah, huh? That is a good question. You're talking about the salt islands, I assume. Oh, JoJo's. Yeah, but you have a weird thing where JoJo's where you can't detoxify it all. Okay, so selenium done. That's done. Salt islands, that's done. Okay, so last week I kind of was talking about that Venus and Jupiter thing. Now I did see that the last couple days, I didn't check today, but like yesterday, the day before, they were up there. Not as close, but they were up there in that same sky. So we've got Venus and we've got Jupiter are now visible to the naked eye. I don't remember Jupiter being bright like that. And I do remember seeing Mars, but it was more like a star, like a little bit bright reddish star. So it's pretty much Venus and Jupiter for the win now. It used to be just Venus was really bright. And then before that, it was none of them. So we're at Venus and Jupiter bright. And so I kind of looked it up and just to see what we can see. And right now they say we can see 5 planets in the sky with the naked eye. And those are the 3 I already discussed, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. And we can also see Mercury. And at its brightest, it is an average star. So that would probably just blend in with all the other light speckles. But it can be seen. And Saturn is said to be brighter than Mars, but less bright than Jupiter or Venus. But it is brighter than normal stars. So Saturn is also going to be a brighter star. Now these 3 then, if they just use each other, then Saturn could get brighter if Venus gets brighter, because they're saying, well, it's not as bright as Venus, okay? So all of those can get brighter together. The only one that's kind of pinned down is Mercury is an average star at its brightest. So Mercury should never be brighter than an average star, or it's a Mandela. I do think that we're going to see more and more of these things, though. So, but right now it's 5 planets. We can see 5 planets. Let's see how long that holds for. And really, I really only remember seeing Venus, Jupiter, like bright, and I know I've seen Mars, and it's weird because I haven't seen Mars in a while, and Mars was the first one I ever saw, and that was like the only one that I remember being able to see like 10 years ago, and now they don't even talk about that. It's Venus and Jupiter, so I don't know. This is getting weird. But we're at 5 visible planets, visible with the naked eye. Okay, I should do this one. No, I'll do this one. Okay, really only have one left. Oh, only 110. I didn't look for any really this week, so that might be part of why I don't have that many. There are ancient giant swords in the museum. Ooh, I think I did see this one. Yes, this. I actually posted this on subreddit for Tartaria. So there's been more and more of these. At first there was only these Japanese ones, super giant swords, like as if you were giants. Of course, the story is that they were just ceremonial or for looks. I don't remember these existing at all, like giant swords. They had ceremonial swords, but you could still carry them in your hand like a regular sword. Massive swords of Hungarian origin dating back to the 14th century, now on display in Istanbul. So, of course, the Tartarians are like, maybe it's evidence of giants, that these swords were carried by giants. I don't know how that's going to go. All I know is I don't remember ever hearing of these ridiculous sized swords. And then the first ones that showed were just the Japanese ones. And now we have these. Things are getting shifty. Yep. Oh, I think I forgot to mention. Yes, there was a thing down the hill at my house too that's got the end of that area there is a little shifty. There's some signs that keep changing, some arrows that to warn people to swerve to the left so they don't fall into the ditch. Those keep changing. And down at the bottom there used to be this little river. Really little. It was very seasonal. It only ran in the winter and it would dry up in the summer. And the direction I remember it flow also changed, because I remember it flowing a certain way, and it would flow from way up the hill there, down, and then it would like peter out before it got to our place often enough, because we were like the downhill end. So first it would stop running here, but it would still be running up there. But that's all shifted now, because, and it would, like here, it would run out, and there was kind of a riparian drainage area that my neighbor has, and in the winter it would run down and maybe pool around over there and maybe continue on a little bit. But now what happens is that river comes down from the other side and is now draining the other way. And it used to have like a tiny little storm drain thing under my road that it would go under, and you really didn't see, but it would just kind of show up back on the other side. But now it comes down from them, it pools all there, and now it's going this way. And there's like this huge, I was out walking yesterday, and I'm like, what the heck? Because there is now a giant storm drain thing. Like you could probably duck down a bit and walk all the way under the road where this giant storm, and it's got a giant cement structure that's built. I'm going to have to go down there in the next few days and see what the heck is down there, because that was not there. And there's like a ton of water rushing through there, and it's going the other way. And I don't even know which way that river runs now. I'm going to have to figure out if it's reverse directions or what, because we were at the end of that river. And I always used to joke, we get the dregs of the river, and it would rarely flow down here. But now we're at the head of the river, apparently, so it just kind of freaking me out. And that new drainage canal thing that goes under the road is big. So like wild animals probably could go through there. And the other thing weird is that where it is, it's like really visible. You can hear the water rushing, and all of the shrubs and stuff that are not present. Like there's an open space there, and the animals have a super runway of running up and down through there, I guess accessing the river and stuff. None of that stuff was there. And I'm like, I'm not 100% sure when that showed up, but it was kind of freaking me out earlier this week. I mean, I've walked down that road and checked. You know, I walk down the road and I just check our property. Sometimes just for exercise, I'll walk up and down, pick up some garbage along the road because that's our property. That was never there before. That end down there is very shifty. Also, a lot more rocks, big rocks are showing up in the area, and I'm seeing a lot of big rocks down there. It used to just be kind of silty, but there's huge rocks down there. Scientists just said Mercury is freezing. Are you talking about Mercury, the planet? Because that's like the closest to the sun, so that really wouldn't make sense. Why is Mercury a freezing planet? It shouldn't be a freezing planet. All right, I'm just type it in. I am a little suspicious about Mars may have once been the third planet, but I'm not third planet, but I am not sure on that. And then that TV show was fourth rock from the sun, not third rock from the sun back then. But okay, Mercury. Oh my God. Freezing. Let's see. Are they saying it's getting colder? Or are they saying it's freezing? Mercury element. Ice on Mercury. What? No. All right. No. Okay. You got me on that one. Mercury has ice, does it? It didn't even have, none of these things had water. Now it has ice. Mercury has ice. Mercury, that's baloney. No. Mars didn't even have ice. Now Mercury has ice? All right, let me just read this before I completely freak out. Okay. The closest planet to the sun, blah, blah. The surface is slowly rotating under a relentless assault from the sun. Nonetheless, Earth-based radar imaging of Mercury has revealed areas of high radar reflectivity near the North and South poles. Are you telling me it's got ice on the poles? No. There appears to be dozens of these areas with generally circular shapes. Presumably, the ice is located within permanently shadowed craters near the poles. No. Oh, this whole... they keep reusing the same script, too. Oh, it's in cold craters. First, it was in cold craters in the moon. It's in cold craters in Mars. It starts in the cold craters, and it creeps out. This is bull. This is total bull. Where it may be cold enough for ice to exist over long periods of time. Why? No. The discovery of ice on the Earth's moon can only serve to strengthen the arguments for ice on Mercury. Oh, yeah, it was on the moon, so therefore it could be on Mercury. No. When was this even done? 2012. You know you died and went to a new timeline when there is ice on Mercury. Like hell has frozen over. It's starting to freeze over. It's This is complete baloney, guys. This is baloney. How can I survive on Mercury? The temperature can reach over 700 kelvins, I guess, K. Has no atmosphere. Water ice on the surface of Mercury is exposed directly to vacuum and will rapidly sublime. This implies that the ice can never be exposed to direct light. This is bull. Water ice and polar craters on Mars could be stable over the age of the solar system. There's only two significant sources for ice on Mercury: meteorite bombardment and planetary outgassing. This is total bull. I know. So Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. So yeah, no, it was boiling hot. It is boiling hot. This is Mars stole our ice caps. Yeah, we still kind of have ice caps, but it looks like Mercury is stealing them too. Yeah, Mars has two ice caps in this timeline. That has definitely been on as a Mandela. Ah, Shari remembers Earth as the fourth planet. So yeah, there's this TV show called Third Rock from the Sun, and I think I kind of remember it being fourth rock from the sun too with that one. But that one's not one I'm really sure on. There's only a few things I was really sure on planets, and that it wasn't really my super area of interest. But that's why I can't be sure on that one. The moon is really shifty. Well, yeah, the whole orbits and all that are very different now on the moon. It was only out at night for me, so. Pigs are flying, dogs and cats living together. Pure madness. That's from a famous comedy movie. We don't have pigs are flying yet, but we do have them swimming. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore because the whole reality is just not what we're told. So then is space, is planets, is anything, you know. Are there still monuments on Mars? Well, I guess that begs the question, were there ever monuments on Mars, or are they just giant coincidences of piles that look like monuments? That was never really agreed on in the mainstream. They released different images, and it looks like monuments in some images and not monuments in other images. But do you trust NASA to really release true images? But then if they didn't want you to know about the monuments, why would they release the first images? I mean, you could go around and around and around on that. All right. Well, that one was interesting. Thank you for that. Ice on Mercury. What next? What next? I mean, if you think mainstream news is funny, which it is, just check out some of this NASA stuff. Like, people will believe anything, I swear. I mean, are they just getting, like, trying to get more and more ridiculous? And, like, how far will it go? Because it's so clown world now. Okay, so I was actually talking with JoJo's and a few people at the chat earlier, and JoJo's mentioned something, and I was just kind of looking at Africa, and then I'm like, Africa, why are you pointy on the side? I don't remember this. Like, when did that show up? It seems like it's pretty recent, this pokey part. I don't remember there being a pokey part on Africa. So I'll pull this over so you can kind of see it. Like suddenly there's this stabby part. So I remember Africa being more kind of triangular. Like it kind of went like that and then it was kind of down like that. It was roughly round edge triangular. And over time, this end has been kind of poking out. This end has been kind of flattening. And then it's been squeezing over to the west along Europe. I remember it being more under Europe, but it's like squeezing up. Okay, so I think over here is Saudi is over here somewhere. But I don't remember it having a giant pokey part reaching out right here. So, and then Madagascar has continued to get massive. It's just huge now. But yeah, this is the part I'm like, well, what? When did that show up? Strange. I think, was it Somalia and Ethiopia? I don't remember Somalia having that weird shape either. Ugh. Everything is too big or too small. Okay, so there's that edge. So Ethiopia here and Somalia all stretched out along there. I don't remember that at all. I suspect maybe Somalia was like a normal country and then Ethiopia stabbed it and smashed it to the sides. I'm like, it sounds so ridiculous to say. It's total crazy talk, I know, but something's going on here. Here, this kind of shows it with Saudi and stuff. This is kind of what I wanted to see here. Hopefully it's a normal. Why does it keep making it too big? Okay, so you see it's like stretching around here. It's stretching around Saudi. So I remember it just kind of Saudi attached here, and that was it. I think this part is all new. So we're getting, like, again, protected waterways, continuing on through there. I'm really suspicious about this one here, too. I don't remember this going way in so far like that. So it looks like this is going along here. And now this is wrapping around here. We're just getting, like, protected waterways. Now, it does say somewhere in the Bible that will, like, at the end times, there'll be one giant river that covers the earth, one giant freshwater river. And I kind of feel like we're heading that way. Now, I don't know if that was in the Bible originally, but last I checked, it was in there. And that's what we're seeing, you know. It's just protected waterways just growing everywhere. So on that subject, see if this is a decent size. No. So I've kind of commented on this before, but you see in here, like, this lake is opening up and this river, like, passage is opening up in Africa. And I've commented on that before. I don't remember a big lake thing in here. Maybe that lake was there, but it was just tiny, so it didn't show. And a couple years ago, somebody was actually checking out Africa, like just normies that aren't into this stuff at all, looking at Africa and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't remember seeing all these rivers everywhere. Africa is getting full of waterways. And even the normies are like, whoa, I don't remember these. Okay, but JoJo saw this the other day. And so we've talked about this before, like we'll see a Mandela effect and then some kind of mainstream news thing that kind of sounds like it will come out, and then when you try to search for the real thing, all you'll find is this mainstream article. So one example is early on when we saw that Australia had moved north a lot and wasn't out by itself. And so we're like, Australia moved north. That was the Mandela effect. And then a mainstream news article came out and says something like Australia is moving north. But you click on it, it was like it moved north like 3 feet in 10 years. It's like not like it's going to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. But we actually had people all over Retcon saying, oh, well, that's explained by this article. I'm like, 3 feet does not show visibly on a map of Australia. So this article does not explain anything. But when you went to do the Google, all you got was this. And people would take one look at it and say, oh, that explains it. I'm like, are you kidding me? It does not explain anything. How can people actually think it explains anything? That's what like blew my mind. Like, you read this article and you think that this explains it. And even if it did, it shouldn't be shocking, the most shocking thing, if it moves hundreds and hundreds of miles. Even if there is an article mainstream that says it is, that would still be absolutely out of this world. You wouldn't go, oh, see, it's nothing. But yet they were. It was like creatures, it's matrix brain. Creatures of the matrix brain thoughts are outrageously incomprehensible. And that's what was happening. So now JoJo's discovered this. Africa splitting two pieces. Well, I don't think this was the exact terminology, but basically there's all these articles now. Africa's splitting in two. Here is why. And then they show, let me see if I can find an image. And it's that stuff I was just talking about. So there's two parts to it. I might have to go to Google for this. I think it is basically that Swiss cows started sucking in the last few weeks, because I don't think Google got any better. I just can't find anything on Swiss cows anymore. Researchers believe that tectonic movement below Africa will eventually see the continent divided in two along the Great Rift Valley system. This line stretches from southwestern Asia to the Horn of Africa. Blink. Now, with a little luck, we will find... Okay, here is the outcome that they're saying. Now, keep in mind, this is 5 to 10 million years from now is when they're saying that this will happen. Not like next week, but there it is. Okay, so that bit where I showed those rivers and there's like a lake, they're saying that they'll basically calve off a big old section. Kind of interesting that apparently Saudi and all of that are expected to stay almost the same. Oh, that's interesting, because look, that little pokey part does not wrap around on this, I would say, 5 million to 10 million year future one. Now, oh, that was it here. This is the pokey thing. Okay, the pokey thing is here. That's why it's not. All right. So this was smashed on here, and all right. So that's what they're saying is happening, but we're seeing it happen in real time. There wasn't a big lake and a big fat rivers like 3 years ago. So this geological time is being spread up by millions of years. And I'm just wondering, well, A, this kind of hides the internet searches for that. Okay, here's another one. And B, it possibly is telling us what we're going to see maybe 5-10 years from now, or I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 years from now, but we're seeing it kick in. So the other weird thing is they've been talking about these cracks forming in Africa, and you can see it here, that are like the beginning stages of this. I just don't see how, if this is going to take 5 million years, that we're going to see suddenly a 10-foot crack there, though. It seems a little suspicious to me. Now, when these cracks first showed up, that they said that they were from drought, okay? And now apparently the story is, and has always been since at least 2018 when I was looking at articles, that it's actually this section calving off. Now, when I first heard of these cracks, there was not 2 extra fat rivers and a big fat lake in here. And so let's just say the story has changed and has always been different. Enormous crack just opened up in Africa. Yeah, see, no, this was drought. When they came up with this, it was drought. This article is 2018. Now they're saying, quit it. They're saying these cracks are, Yeah, no, it was drought. It was the drought drama. This is why I don't take this stuff seriously. Oh no, they're saying dropping water tables and drought were causing cracks, and now it's a calving off of a whole. Yeah, this is not it. Magma plume. Okay, so this is why I don't take the stories too seriously, because next week or next year or 3 years from now, the whole narrative completely changes. Now it's not drought, it's seismic activity. Also, part of California is supposed to break off from the mainland. Yes, 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 yes. Which came out of like nowhere. Like, you know, why would you think that? But if you look at California, that is happening. I don't think we're going to break off and fall in, but I think we might break off. But it's not going to be like the way they said it. It's going to be Mandela style, where everybody's fine and 90% of the population doesn't even notice. All right, where are we? So similar things are happening. Oh my God, is that... That's not current, is it? Holy... No. These lakes are huge. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, I'm just confused because there's these blue blobs, and I'm like, the lakes, that can't be lakes. It's got to be something else. All right, there's Salton Sea. It's darker. So this is a very fishy map because they've got this blue blobs, but that's not lakes. Maybe it will be eventually, but I don't think it is yet. So I think these blue blobs might be national forests. Something's not right. Okay, like this blue blob, I think that's a national forest. It kind of scared me for a minute, though. I know the lakes are growing, but they're not growing that fast. Okay, let's see. Trying to find the right map. Maybe that one? No, I have definitely seen better maps for this job. All right, I'll have to stick with this one, although it really doesn't show it. But basically, the lakes here, that has expanded. Let's see if we can get down here. Inland lakes. The heck, it doesn't really show. This map really sucks, actually. It doesn't show the inland bits over here. But basically, Salton Sea is growing. This is Salton Sea. And the river system to it is growing. It didn't really have much of an inlet or an outlet before, but now you can see it has two. And you can see rivers kind of showing up along here. So then if you go over here, you'll see this system here kind of growing and the river system along here. So I think it might be actually going to split down, kind of similar to what we were seeing in Africa, where that's going to split. There was a better map of this at some point that I have seen. Let's see. It needs to show Salton, though. That one is kind of goofy. This one shows the topography, and you can see how deep this is getting along here. So you've got this really deep area, and there's a lot of like river showing up through here. So I think there might be a split like down there, down the line. I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know if I'll live to see it. Now, I have at times found a better map for these, but I am not seeing it. Let me just see. I don't know what it is about Swiss cows lately. I can't find stuff on it. them up. I don't remember actually being like this deep, deep valley like this here on California either. I frankly have never seen anything quite that extensive until just recently. You can see all I typed in was California map, and they're all showing it. I mean, yes, there were valleys, but there wasn't like that extreme. This one kind of shows. So this kind of shows it. I just feel like it's growing up along here, and then in here, it's like hooking up. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, maybe this will just become islands out here or something. It's actually kind of exciting when you think about it. So all of this happens, and, you know, everything just shifts around, and nobody dies, drowns, there's no tidal waves, nothing. And I kind of wonder how much this storyline kind of fueled this future change, too. I think a lot of it, I mean, expected hearing high-pitched sounds before shifts. I don't know. I hear tinnitus all the time, and so I think I've really concentrated on blotting it out. Like right now when you said that and I listen, I can hear a heck of a lot of a high-pitched sound right at this moment. But I just try not to hear it because it would be very distracting to have to hear that all the time. The cracks are much bigger than 2019 as Nobleness D showed us. Yes, yes. Not at all surprised. Yet those are 2018 images, you know. But the Amazon was a planted garden. Really? I haven't heard that one yet. All right, let's check that one out. Nothing is too weird. You get ice on Mercury. That's the crazy town for today. Ice on Mercury. All right, let's see. Amazon was profoundly changed by humans. Amazon is a man-made food forest, researchers discover. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about the world like running out of oxygen if we planted all that. Most of the edible plants in the rainforest were planted by humans over 4,500 years ago. Modern farmers should look to these ancient forest gardeners for the key to sustainable food production. Well, it's pretty simple. You just plant stuff that doesn't need any help to grow there and then let it go. Ancient humans were practicing agriculture 4,500 years ago. It was responsible for the overwhelming abundance of edible plants we now find there. The study, blah, blah, blah. Humans had more profound effect on supposedly untouched rainforests than previously thought. It kind of fits in with what we're seeing is like the news stories are like all these new old ancient civilizations were much more extensive. For some reason, satellite only found this in the last couple of years, even though we've had really good satellite for decades. Toby Hemingway hypothesized the Amazon forest was a man-made forest garden years ago. So much for natural way. Trees were loaded with walnuts, chestnut, hickory nuts, beech nuts, and acorns. Well, I'm sure we would have worked on some of that, but couldn't the animals have just carried all this stuff and then pooped them out and stuff? Unfortunately, the people who tended those food forests were exterminated. Well, 4,500 years ago, they probably died of old age. But exterminated sounds much more exciting. I mean, their ancestors probably live there to this day, so not exactly exterminated. Maybe the red gene is what makes us different. We might be carrying it without showing. What's the red gene? So yeah, also Canada. Canada's getting a big strip of rivers and lakes that look just about almost as big as the Great Lakes, and they're hooking up in a big like long line. So there's another big split happening there, I think. And then over by where is it, on the southeast side of Canada, there's that river that's like opened up a lot. I don't remember it being all open like that. The monuments are all similar. Pre-Inca, Inca say they didn't build it. Pre-dynastic Egyptian, they are the same building styles. Well, you know, we've covered that because a lot of those building styles didn't even exist for me 10 years ago, and probably not a lot of use, like the those puzzle piece rock walls that look like you know, jigsaw puzzles versus just stacks of stone. Those are, first they just showed up in one spot in Peru. Now they're all over the place. And they, oh, well, they're similar all over the place. Well, they weren't even there before. So how do you, I'm still a redhead. Oh, okay. So you mean the red-headed, like, hair gene. I don't know, that red-headed hair gene thing is showing up all over the place. And they go, oh, there's red-headed Japanese and redheaded Indians and redheaded this and that people where they shouldn't have been. And yeah, so something's going on with the redhead. Okay, so I'm not a natural redhead, so I can't like really speak for the redhead. I do kind of have a slight red tone in my hair naturally, but this is not my natural hair color. So got to be honest. I do feel like it looks good on me, but because I do have a little, like my eyebrows are natural and there is a little red tone in them. So it doesn't look too weird on me because I've got the right skin color and stuff for it. And I've got the hazel eyes, what often comes with the redheads. So, you know, I'm over 50 now, so there's a few grays in there too. So I've actually been dyeing my hair since high school, so I haven't really seen my hair its natural color in like forever, frankly. And it used to be blonder when I was younger, and just a little red and kind of blonde, and then it just got like brown, and then I just didn't like it anymore, so I started dyeing it. It wasn't a real good shade of brown. I think that was part of it. Red hair used to be a distinctly Caucasian trait. Absolutely. It was. Like, you know, Ireland and stuff. But not anymore. So then they started saying, oh, there's some redheads in Mexico. And then there was like a lot of redheads. I think what they say it was Aztec gene. And yeah. And there's like blonde black people now, naturally blonde, that they have that really tight curly hair that the black people have, and they have all the black people traits. And then there's like bright reddish and even blondie blonde hair. I've had that on. That was not a thing before. So everybody's getting everybody's colors. It's all mixy matchy. One benefit of being blonde is you can't see gray hairs. Yeah, the lighter the hair. The other thing I've really noticed is the darker your hair, like every little bit that's out of place looks way worse when it's dark. If it's kind of bumpy over here or something, it's like, it's all, when it's blonde, it doesn't have to be as perfect. And that's another thing I like about lighter hair. So the other thing about the redheads in the past, and I don't know if it's really so true, but a lot of them had like Irish blood. They came from the low sun regions of Europe. They usually couldn't tolerate much, if any, sun without insta burning. So, and if they weren't like living in their native lands, and they'd come to California, and then they'd have to wear like 3 tons of sunscreen and a giant hat all the time. And they would get freckles, but no tan because they just didn't have the tanning in them. And it was a big pain, you know, so it was difficult to be a redhead. Now, I would guess that that's not going to be true for the redheads that are like from Mexico and stuff because it is freaking hot over there. They don't seem like they have the freckles and stuff. Well, anyway, I'm about done. Animal, but O is the more evolved blood. So how could it be original? I'm a type B, but B blood can change to O under illness. B blood can change to O under illness? What? You guys have all the Mandelas today. Illness. I have never heard of B blood changing to O under illness. That's... Then why A should be able to change too, right? Blood types can change. Through addition or suppression of an antigen infection. So last I heard it was only bone marrow transplant that could change the blood. You'd have to kind of add some kind of new blood. More common cause of blood type change is bone marrow transplant. Addition or suppression of an antigen in infection, malignancy, or autoimmune disease. Now, this is a whole new spiel here. When we're adding infection, malignancy, autoimmune, I have never heard of that. And we have looked into this blood type change. It was only bone marrow transplant last time. Now it's infection, malignancy, or autoimmune disease. No, 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 no. Once all the patient's original red blood cells have died, they will have been fully replaced by new cell derived from the donor. Okay, that is the old school, well, not old school, but the more recent bone marrow thing. All right, we reported a patient who was Rh phenotype shifted from RHD positive to RHD positive. What is it? It used to be just RH positive. Now it's RHD positive. Ooh, they're going to add more stuff because it was RH positive negative. Now they're calling it RHD positive, RHD negative. So once they're adding on to that, that means they're trying to make this more specific. The Mandela is, in order to add more stuff. Over a 3-year period, during which time she was treated with a mastectomy and local irradiation for low-grade recurrent breast cancer. She was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia in 1994 and has since then received chemo. The patient was repeatedly typed as O, RHD positive, between 65 and 91, and was repeatedly found RHD negative after 94. Typical chromosome blah blah molecular analysis indicated the patient was heterozygous at the Rh locus, carrying one haplotype in which RHD gene exhibited a singular nucleotide deletion, resulting in a frame shift and premature stop codon. What the hell? I don't even know what this means. All right. They're making it so complicated that everybody's like, okay, whatever. These findings suggest a somatic mutation which most probably occurred in stem cell common to the all right, I'm sorry, that one's over my head. That's beyond my pay grade. A patient with blood group type O accidentally received a blood group B cardiac allograft. He died almost 5 years after transplantation because of transplant vasculopathy. We monitored the expression of antigens for 44 months using monoclonal antibodies for immunohistology, blah, blah, blah. I guess they're going to say it changed, but then he died. All right, now this woman, this girl, she said she got a liver transplant, and the body just, instead of having to take medication for her donated liver so it wouldn't get refused, the body adopted the liver's immune system. All right, this is getting whack-doodle. Okay, so anyway, that is the thing now. Apparently, it does say that. Now, there's not a lot of examples of it in there, but it does say that that's possible. Well, so you guys have added enough Mandelas to take us to the almost to the 2-hour mark. Some people are mosaic. Well, these days, that whole chimera thing was not a thing for me 30 years ago. And then it was super, super, super rare, and it's getting way less rare. But B can lose its spikes to adapt to malaria, and now they say possibly COVID. Are you kidding me? Ugh. That's crazy town. Man, the Mandela is going to milk COVID for everything. Now it could change your blood type. Welcome to the Truman Show. I know. You know, they used to say even your eye color can't change. Now your blood type could change. Doctor spelled backwards is rot cod. You know, there are some good doctors who try, and I think a lot of the rest of them were just, well, a number of the rest of them were brainwashed, but still are trying to be good people, but they're just brainwashed with the storyline. But there are quite a number that are basically just in it for the prestige and money, and they are jerks. And so there's a big batch of those too. You can at least try to find the ones with brain cells and good people at the same time. It is challenging, but it is doable, and even they are constrained by what the law will allow, and the complete lack of research of really useful stuff. The blood type O evolved to handle viruses. So I am A. I have A. A is mine. So it's used to be the second. I swear my mom always told me I had O, but I have to say that my mom is not a very reliable source. So then later I found out I had A when I donated blood. And at the time, O is the most common, but now A positive is the most common, I think. So I still have the most common one, but... Okay, well, anyway, it's time for me to run. So thanks for all the Mandelas. Very much appreciate it. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.